Welcome to this week's Harness Racing Alumni Show. I'm Freddie Hudson, and I'm here as always with Trade Martin and Bob Marks. This week's Harness Racing Alumni Show is sponsored by Winbak Farm Canada's newest staffing, Captain's Quarters. The son of Captain Treacherous is standing his first season with a stud fee of $5,000 Canadian. For more information or to book a breeding, call 905-838-2145 or email stallions@winbakfarm.com. Captain's Quarters. Also, the Meadowlands Racetrack. Visit playthemeadowlands.com. And Hunterton Farm, breeding champions year after year. Visit huntertonfarm.com. The Harness Racing Alumni is now currently soliciting for sponsors of our upcoming YouTube tribute to the drivers and trainers of Yonkers Raceway. Please visit ustrots.com to become a sponsor. All sponsors will also receive a plaque of honor on our digital honor board. Again, visit ustrots.com.
The Harness Racing Alumni Show with your hosts, Freddie Hudson and Trade Martin.
Joining us today is our good friend and former presiding judge, Art Gray. Art, welcome back to the Harness Racing Alumni Show.
Thank you, gentlemen. I hope you're all well.
No, well, thank you. Art, you've had it looks like you have a pretty busy month coming up here towards the end here. You have a hearing scheduled, and I guess 2 hearings scheduled. One for the trainer in Delaware, and one with the is it the New York Gaming Commission?
No, it's with the Inspector General, actually. The Inspector General's office.
I was close.
Yeah. Well, the Inspector General is responsible for overseeing that the agencies are, acting ethically and, accomplishing their mission statements.
Okay. So what is this hearing about?
Well, I've received, I got 3 phone calls from 3 different horsemen from Buffalo Raceway over now this is into the 3rd week. And what they were telling me was, they told me of 3 different instances that I was able to confirm where they were saying that anything goes there. It's like the Wild Wild West. There was one situation where a groom found a bag of drugs, needles, and syringes outside of a barn. And she brought it into the presiding judge, and nothing happened. There were no barn searches. There was no investigation. The horsemen were waiting to see, what they were going to do about it, and nothing was done. Another issue that came up was they had a flood in the paddock, and the toilet in the paddock backed up, and they had to call a plumber in, and the plumber went in there, and it was stuffed up with needles and syringes, and the plumber was surprised, and so far the resolution has been that they locked the bathroom. Again, there was, as far as anybody knows, there haven't been any investigations, and the horsemen are kind of at the legitimate guys that are calling me are kind of at their wits' end. There was also an incident where there were several trainers going out on the racetrack in the morning, going on a trip. They found used needles and syringes on the racetrack. So this was all phone calls I got in the course of 2 weeks. And, I've been working with Andy to try and get the attention of the New York Commission and other racing commissions to step up their due diligence on addressing the integrity issues at these racetracks. And we decided to I sent an email to the governor, the chairman of the commission, the executive director of the commission, the inspector general's office, and to Andy. Andy was included also. And I got a response from that one for sure. I listed, I basically started off saying that after the January scandal that broke where New York didn't follow up on the investigation with the additional individuals that were getting EPO delivered to their homes and to their barns, that Governor Hochul said that made a statement that she was going to increase the efforts to, for the commission to address the integrity issues in horse racing, and said that she hasn't kept to her word with these situations that have that came up at Buffalo Raceway just in the last say 3 to 4 weeks. It kind of shows that things aren't changing. Another thing that I was told was that the Horsemen's Association had too much influence over the presiding judge, that the presiding judge wasn't experienced enough to handle situations and was easily influenced by the Horsemen's Association to the point where horsemen were finding out when there was going to be any kind of a search, or there was going to be any type of investigators around. So it's not a very good situation.
Yeah. Art, when you say Andy, you mean Andy Cohen of the Paulic Report, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, and also, in today's modern age, you would think that the paddock and their track has cameras on them at all the time, and they should be able to catch these people on camera.
Well, they don't. Buffalo Raceway, a lot of tracks don't. They don't have the finances to do that. I mean, Jeff Corral has. I work with him, and there were many. I think there were 30 or 36 cameras in the paddock at Tioga, but it's an expensive proposition. And now, like Buffalo Raceway, they're struggling to stay open 2 days a week, and putting in, spending $20,000-$30,000 on a complete system to cover all the barns doesn't exactly fit into their bottom line.
Well, I would think just the paddock should be covered and possibly the track. I mean, if that's where they're finding the needles, that's where I would be putting the cameras. So.
Yeah. Well, even
that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you for sure it's an expensive proposition, and there's always places where, like, I know, there are tracks with cameras and horsemen are using large dose syringes to milkshake horses, and and they're not seen. So there's always some place to go where you can get some cover.
Okay, so you have a hearing with them scheduled for the 24th, I believe, correct?
Yeah, June 24th. I haven't answered them yet. I'm going to go.
Okay.
I have to think exactly how I'm going to handle it. It's going to be in Buffalo, so they're going to come here. They're going to come to Buffalo to meet with me.
Okay. And so the next one, on the 29th, you have another hearing in Delaware, correct?
Yes, that is Sean Beer. And Sean, there's another commission where they have a situation with one trainer that had a positive, has numerous positives in his background, and the presiding judge decided to give him a provisional license. And at the other end of the spectrum, you have Sean Beer, who had a lidocaine positive, and he gave him a 2-year suspension and a $2,000 fine. And I can't think of any lidocaine positive where I gave a trainer any more than 30 days and a fine, depending, if he had a questionable background. If it was most of the times with lidocaine, it's either a therapeutic error because the horse got, cut on a tack box and had to get stitched up, or it's environmental. Because there aren't too many, I haven't come across too many cases where you hear of a horseman using lidocaine to try and affect the outcome of a race.
Right, and they had a legitimate excuse for that also, being that the vet had done some work on the horse, I think about 3 weeks prior to that, or 2 weeks prior to that.
Right, he has, the vet I guess is going to be there, and the vet, Sean sent me the pictures, and the horse definitely was cut pretty good. And I don't know, it seems just in contrast, you look at the one situation with Kevin Lair and his situation, something's not right. Something's wrong there. There's got to be something else. I don't know. The PJ must have some other kind of agenda regarding the situation with Sean.
Yeah, it should be standardized, and they should have set rules in place to follow, not just whim off of if you don't like the guy, you give him a harder sentence versus someone if you like them. So, and Sean and Chrissy were on the show. Sean and Chrissy were on the show, and they explained everything, and I'm 100% in back of them. So.
So I think that they're going to win. Unfortunately, Sean lost his whole barn. He lost 13 horses.
Right.
And this has cost him quite a bit of money. And this was really unnecessary.
So Art, what is the solution to straightening this out? Well, what needs to be done to straighten this out, where the commissions are brought so that they're uniform, the judges are uniform? What needs to be done, in your opinion?
Well, uniform-wise, when it's the HISA is a start. Although I'm surprised that they got shot down this week in the legal case. But what we need is one entity that is going to consistently, adjudicate the rules and regulations in all what I think there's 30 or 31 racing jurisdictions. But we can talk about this till whenever, and it's not gonna happen. I've had owners recommend to me, well, what if you can make it regional? For have the rules the same for Michigan, Indiana, and Kentucky, and for the horses that that travel. And even now with the stakes races, you have Oak Grove. You have a horse in Kentucky can race on Amicar, and if you're going to race the horse in New Jersey, you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks because Amicar is illegal in New Jersey. So there has to be some kind of consistency, but how we're going to do it, I don't know. This is what, this is kind of what Andy and I have been, working towards. And I don't know. I'm not going to back off. We'll see. Right. I know the one thing that that commissions don't like is bad press.
Yeah, well, something needs to be done, and getting back to HISA, the Fifth Circuit Court ruled against them, and they're in opposition with the Sixth Circuit Court. So now it's going to move forward to the Supreme Court, and so probably it's going to take about a year for the Supreme Court to hear it, and 99% it's going to rule in HISA's favor. It's just going to happen that way, and so HISA is going to continue.
Everyone thought that that HISA was going to win this time.
Well, the Fifth Circuit Court has always been an obstacle there, And so it's just going to move to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will rule, because all the other jurisdictions, all the other federal courts have ruled in favor of ISA. Yeah. So you have one out of 16 or 17. So.
Well, he really is the same problem that we have with the commissions. You have a bunch of successful businessmen that, for the most part, have nothing to do with thoroughbred or harness racing, and they're the ones that are calling the shots. And that's part of the problem. That's what we have with the commissions. New York and Delaware aren't the only commission. I mean, look at Pennsylvania. There was a oxycodone positive a number of years back in the stake race, and the executive director went to meet with the presiding judge, and they wanted him to sit on it. And he refused, and they brought him into the office and said, asked him, told him the same thing, and he refused, and he got fired. Just recently, just this past week, the two executive directors got fired in Pennsylvania because of misrepresentations regarding chain of custody on a trainer having contraband in the barn. So there's we need one entity, kind of like the NFL. And I don't know, maybe we could get Bad Bunny to represent, to perform and bring all the racetracks, all the jurisdictions together.
All right. Art, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule.
All right, you're welcome, guys. Take care.
This week's Harness Racing Alumni Show is sponsored by Winbak Farm Canada's newest stallion, Captain's Quarters. The son of Captain Treacherous is standing his first season with a stud fee of $5,000 Canadian. For more information or to book a breeding, call 905-838-2145 or email stallions@winbakfarm.com. Captain's Quarters. Also, the Meadowlands Racetrack. Visit playthemeadowlands.com. And Hunterton Farm, breeding champions year after year. Visit huntertonfarm.com. The Harness Racing Alumni is now currently soliciting for sponsors of our upcoming YouTube tribute to the drivers and trainers of Yonkers Raceway. Please visit ustrots.com to become a sponsor. All sponsors will also receive a plaque of honor on our digital honor board. Again, visit ustrots.com. That's a wrap for this week's show. Thanks for listening, and please join us again next week.
The Harness Racing Alumni Show